Australia is infamous for its deadly snakes, crocodiles, and giant spiders that can haunt anyone's nightmares. But these modern animals are nothing compared to the monsters that once roamed this land. These beasts were so enormous and terrifying that today's wildlife looks like petting zoo animals in comparison. Today, you'll discover why prehistoric Australia was the worst place in history, what the marsupial lion was capable of, what kangaroos looked like in the past, what megalania could do to you, the bizarre pig-like beast with a trunk, what megalodon has to do with it all, and most importantly, what these prehistoric monsters can teach us. Let's start our journey around 60,000 years ago, when humans first set foot on this continent. Imagine walking through the Australian wilderness and coming face to face with a marsupial lion. Forget everything you know about modern lions. This predator had one of the most powerful bites of any mammal that has ever lived, strong enough to crush a skull in a single chomp. Its front teeth worked like industrial bolt cutters, and its large, retractable claws sliced through prey like a knife through butter. The marsupial lion wasn't much bigger than a modern lioness, about 75 centimeters at the shoulder. But here's the nightmare fuel. It could climb trees. Now, picture a 250-kilogram predator leaping down on its prey from above. People lived in Australia back then, which means encounters were very real and sometimes deadly. Now, imagine that you are wandering through prehistoric Australia, and suddenly a bird comes out of the bushes that can look you straight in the eye. This is Dromornis startani, a flightless bird that was about 2 meters tall and weighed as much as 240 kilograms. It's almost the same height as a modern emu, but it was more massive and much more intimidating. If today's cassowary looks like it came out of a dinosaur movie, then Dromornis was its Pleistocene equivalent, on steroids created for survival. With such powerful legs, he could probably run very fast, and it was difficult to escape from him. He wasn't a predator, but because of his huge size, you'd think twice before getting too close. You won't believe it, but ancient people in Australia hunted these giant birds. Although Dromornis has long been extinct, it is worth mentioning its modern relative, the cassowary, which is considered the most dangerous bird in the world and lives in northern Australia and New Guinea. Cassowaries can reach a height of up to 2 meters and are famous for their aggressiveness when they are in danger. They can't fly, but they have sturdy legs, capable of delivering a crushing blow with their insanely sharp claws. Recently, a man was even killed with one such blow, so any hunt for such an animal in ancient times could have ended in death. Now let's take a look at what makes modern kangaroos look like jumping mice. This is Procaptodon, a giant short-faced kangaroo, as much as 3 meters tall and weighing half a ton. This monster was much bigger than a modern kangaroo. It had a short and wide muzzle, which was perfect for gnawing on vegetation. His arms were long enough to reach high branches. But the wildest thing is, unlike modern kangaroos that jump, this giant most likely walked upright on 2 hind legs and looked like some kind of prehistoric heavyweight boxer. This giant lived up to 45,000 years ago, until it became extinct. Although there is evidence that he could have lived up to 18,000 years ago. This means that the giant kangaroo people definitely crossed paths. Was it dangerous? Of course, yes. If that seems impressive to you, take a look at the palurists, large marsupial herbivores, similar in shape to a pig. But this strange creature also had a small trunk like an elephant, powerful claws like a sloth, and a body like a bear. It could stand on its hind legs to reach tall branches, and used its huge claws to peel bark from trees. About 2 meters tall at the withers, he was bigger than any modern tapir. Surely you're wondering if this creature could be dangerous to humans? Definitely yes. The tapir's teeth are large and sharp, like its huge claws. Modern tapirs are often considered calm animals, but their behavior can be unpredictable, and they sometimes attack people without warning, causing serious wounds. At the same time, the prehistoric version of this animal was certainly more dangerous. When you think about Australia's most dangerous animals, the first thing that comes to mind is a crocodile. And for good reason. This guy is really scary, dangerous, and one of the fastest predators in general. Even now, many people are killed by crocodiles in fatal cases. Everyone knows that a crocodile can rip off a person's head with one bite. But if modern crocodiles seem creepy to you, then look at the quincon, a land crocodile that could run as fast as a horse. Because unlike today's crocodiles, which stagger on short legs, the quincon had long legs and could easily catch up with its prey. Most of the quincon fossils found show that these crocodiles averaged about 3 meters in length. But one was several million years old and reached 6 meters, which made it one of the largest predators in Australia at that time. His teeth were designed not to hold prey tightly, but to cut. That is, he could bite off pieces from his victim. Imagine that you are trying to escape from a crocodile that can race through the bushes like a horse. That's really creepy, but this crocodile was not the only scary reptile of that time. For example, Megalania, the largest monitor lizard that has ever existed. On average, it grew up to 7 meters in length and weighed more than 600 kilograms, about like a small car. Except he had razor-sharp claws, jagged teeth, and a vicious, venomous bite. His claws were not just for protection, but a real weapon. He could use them to cut and catch prey. His teeth were curved and serrated, like steak knives, to rip through meat with savage efficiency. And if that's not enough to make him shudder, Megalania had a venomous bite, which most likely introduced toxins that interfere with blood clotting, causing the prey to bleed slowly. Megalania hunted everything she could find all over Australia. She mainly caught large animals like Dichrodon and giant kangaroos. But if a person had accidentally got in his way, he would have attacked him without a doubt. Imagine that you are face to face with Reptilia, which can overtake, overcome, and exhaust you. And all this with the help of a single venomous bite that will decide your fate. This giant from nightmares lived until about 50,000 years ago, until it became extinct, most likely due to climate change. But that's not all. There were also creepy giant snakes in prehistoric Australia, and that's where the true horror begins. Imagine a snake so huge that it would easily make you doubt your place at the top of the food chain. This was the giant Blawdowns python, a huge relative of the modern olive python, which could reach a length of up to 10 meters and weigh about 250 kilograms. This prehistoric snake wasn't just a predator, it was a master ambusher. Such a giant snake felt great in the rivers and forests of ancient Australia. It was so huge that it could wrap itself around a man and easily crush him. And yes, it was probably big enough to swallow someone whole. Fortunately, humans appeared in Australia only thousands of years after these giant snakes disappeared. They probably hunted large prey, giant kangaroos, or even diprotodons. And considering how quietly they could glide through their surroundings, it's not hard to imagine them lying in ambush, blending into the environment, ready to strike. But it is one of the most impressive creatures of prehistoric Australia. It's time to move to the ocean, where prehistoric monsters also lived. Let's start with the Kronosaurus, a marine reptile that will make today's great white sharks look like sardines. The monster grew to 11 meters in length, meaning it was the size of a bus, and its head was twice as big as that of a Tyrannosaurus. His teeth were like bananas, and his jaw could clench with such force that it would crush a small boat. It weighed between 15 and 20 tons and ruled the Australian seas about 120 million years ago, devouring everything that got in its way. And there was an ichthyosaur, up to 21 meters in length. Just imagine how much it island. But what really set these creatures apart were their dinner plate-sized eyes. Stronger than any other known animal, they could dive deeper than modern whales and swim faster than any living marine reptile, reaching speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. But perhaps the most terrifying sea monster was the plesiosauride. Imagine a creature with a head the size of a car, teeth longer than your forearm, and bite force enough to crush a small whale. This 50-ton nightmare was the length of a bus, It had flippers the size of boat oars, and it could move through the water faster than a speedboat. This is what a real nightmare looks like in real life. Now, let's dig deeper into one of the most sinister predators that has ever swum in these waters, the megalodon. Although this huge shark has been hunted all over the world, the waters around Australia have been one of its favorite hunting grounds. Just how huge it was. Imagine a great white shark, already an impressive predator. And now multiplied 3 times, the megalodons grew to 6 meters in length, which is more than a semi-trailer truck. The megalodon's jaws were filled with teeth bigger than your hand, but what made the megalodon truly creepy were its hunting tactics. These monsters could swim in at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour, using their huge tail fin to break free on prey from below. When they attacked, the bite force was stronger than that of a T-Rex and 30 times more powerful than that of a lion. They could shatter the bones of even the largest whales by first targeting the fin and prey. By paralyzing them before impact, the megalodon could swallow 2,500 pounds of food at a time. It's like eating a whole cow in one bite.